Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, but you already knew that probably. I hope so. Maybe you didn't. But hi, I'm Graham Day, and this, I'm pointing over here, but he's clearly not there because that's a fan. This is Bibby. Good morning, Bib.
Good morning, Squire.
Right. How is life? I mean, do you not actually forget? I'll jump in first just because I don't have the energy. Because I foolishly decided to get up this morning and do one of those Instagram fitness sort of like workout things. My missus watches. I cannot remember the other person's name.
Courtney Black.
Courtney Black, that's it. And does the Instagram fitness videos. And we've been doing shitloads of fitness stuff over the last few weeks anyway. I say shitloads of fitness stuff. What I mean is walking. But when you do nothing, that's shitloads of fitness stuff. So we've been doing like, I think Saturday we did like an 8k walk, which is quite a lot for someone that does feck all. Anyway, she was like, do you want to do some of these workout stuff? It's 8 o'clock in the morning, just last 30 minutes. I was thinking, bosh, if I can get my full workout done in 30 minutes and I don't have to walk 8 kilometres, jobs are good. And anyway, 12 minutes in, dead. I was dying, literally. Like, it was because like the one this morning she was doing was like some sort of calorie crunch or something like that. It was like, you start off, mate, it was ridiculous. Muscles that you didn't even know existed ache. Like doing high knees. You think, I can do a few high knees. You do 20 of those quickly in like 20 seconds, and then you're doing like squats, and then you're doing burpees, and then you're doing sit-ups, and then you like, I'm thinking, like I want even sit-ups. That was later on. I'm thinking, just give me sit-ups now, because my thighs are literally just on fire. Give me something else to work on. But other than that, I'm all right. I mean, yeah, I literally have no strength, and like waving my arms around is absolutely it's like jelly. It's like my arms don't have bones in them. I've just got lumps of skin hanging off my torso. So when I turn around, my arms are flopping like bags of water. But apart from that, yeah, it's all good. What about you?
I literally just played golf all weekend. Like I didn't switch on to play games until last night when I was watching your stream. I just not played anything.
What a letdown. How dare you play actual physical games? You're not allowed to play. I mean, you can play a digital representation of a physical game that you want to play, but you're not allowed to do the physical things. God. Arms, good morning. Hey.
Morning.
Anyway, for those of you that don't know, as mentioned, my name is Graham Day, and this side, I got the right side that time, this is Bibby, and we together are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is your scoop, which is your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some might even say this is the UK's #1 video games podcast. That's somebody's us, by the way. We're the ones that say it. But still, if you don't know what the scoop is, we give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions in return, so we can have a little bit of a discussion. And it's good if you do that. Well, it's very good if you do that, to be fair, because we turn this on-demand live stream. So we're live on Twitch. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. Although it was pretty much 10 a.m. today. Woo! Like I say, we do that 5 times a week, each and every single weekday. So if you're live in the chat, that's amazing because you can get involved. You can give us those thoughts and impressions that we spoke about. But it also is useful because we turn this into an on-demand podcast, and that gets uploaded to YouTube a little bit after the show finishes, and then we upload it to audio places later on in the day, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are live in the chat, feel free to use your voice on behalf of those watching on demand. Magic Man, good morning there. Put you on mute while I'm on works out call. Don't put us on mute. Bring us into the call. We'll be like, hello. pick a voice, babe. Pick a voice. That's what we'll jump in. All right, you slags.
I mean, I don't need to do one now. Yeah, that's an absolute blinder.
Do you know what's funny? Actually, one thing I didn't mention. Every Friday evening, I do a Skype quiz with mates, and usually, like whoever's turn it is to do the quiz that week chooses the theme. So you pick a team name based on that theme, and this week's Friday just gone, the team name was Transformers. You had to have a team name that was related to Transformers. So one of the teams was Transformer Snack, like the crisps that you buy for like 10p, 20p, whatever. And I was like, what could we be? What could we be? Another one was Optimus Primarch. So I started Googling Transformer names, got taken to a Wikipedia page, and there was a dinosaur Transformer from the 80s cartoon series that was based on molten rock, and the name for molten rock which is the name of this transformer, was Slag. so we were Team Slag. That's our transformer name, Slag.
Why did you not go with Bumblebee Tuna?
A Bumblebee Tuna. Somebody already had one. Someone already had Bumblebee, so I didn't want the same one. We had it was like rather than Busy Bumblebees, that game that used to play in the 90s where you stick a bee on your head and pick shit up. It was Quizzy Bumblebees. So we had to keep clear of Bumblebee. So that's why Mr. Enix PvP. Some say that he gets wins on PUBG on 100% of the stream that we did yesterday. I mean, we had a 100% streak going until we had 2 streams where we didn't get a single win. But anyway. Clear out the throat. Should we jump into some news?
I think we should.
I think we should, because we've got Masters of the League straight after this, and that's what the people want, as well as this. So we need to make time for a bit of both. Anyway, jumping into the new. Ooh, I'm buzzing. Ice Cream Uploads is liking my tweets. Oh, thank you, Ice Cream Uploads. There we go. Anyway, first news article of the day. Activision and EA are reportedly in discussions to buy Mortal Kombat and Rocksteady's parent. Ooh, written by Andrew Robinson for VGC. The tagline says, Warner Games division is said to be up for sale. Interesting. So big news to start the week as Warner Brothers Interactive, owner of Rocksteady, which is Batman Arkham, and NetherRealm, which is Mortal Kombat, is reportedly up for sale. According to CNBC sources, Warner's parent company, AT&T, is currently discussing a potential sale that could fetch around $4 billion if completed. AT&T acquired Time Warner for $109 billion in 2018 and has around $165 billion in debt. Investors recently called for Warner to sell off many of its non-core assets, it claimed. Take-Two, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard have all expressed interest in buying the gaming division, according to CNBC, but no deal is assured or imminent, it's claimed. If a sale goes through, many of the Warner Brothers IP tied to in-development games such as Harry Potter and Batman would not be part of the deal, but could be licensed, the publication sources said. Spokespeople at AT&T and Take-Two declined to comment to CNBC. Warner Brothers Games division reportedly had big announcements scheduled for this month's E3 2020 prior to the show's cancellation. According to Kotaku, Warner had been lining up a trio of high-profile reveals for the event, where it was due to host an E3 press conference for the first time. These included a new Batman title, calm down Bib, an open-world Harry Potter game, calm down Graham, and the next project from Arkham developer Rocksteady Studios. Warner Brothers Interactive also owns TT Games, which is the Lego title developer, Monolith, which brought Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and War? Middle-earth Shadow
of War.
I was going to say Shadow or War. Yeah. I mean, do you choose? Middle-earth Shadow of War and internal studios based in Montreal, Boston, New York, and San Francisco. So we were talking about this last night. I said we. Jordan was talking about this last night. I was listening. But yes, long story short, Activision and EA are in discussions or looking at potentially being involved in purchasing Mortal Kombat and to buy Mortal Kombat and Rocksteady's parent. There we go. Yeah, Warner Brothers Interactive. There we go. So, Bib, thoughts?
Well, personally, I wouldn't want either of those two companies who are looking to buy either of these. We'll just say IPs for the sake of Batman and Mortal Kombat. I wouldn't want either of those two looking after these. If I was to choose either one of them, it would be Activision. But still, the Batman games are so freaking good. I don't want the formula to change. And I think if either of them was to get the hands on them, they definitely would. And Mortal Kombat has never played and looked so good ever. So, for my own selfish reasons, I wouldn't want them to sell them. However, if your company is in £165 billion debt, you need to get rid of some assets, and they're obviously two of the biggest ones. So obviously it makes sense for them to go. It's just a shame, really, because I think I know they are in debt. I'm not saying that a new Batman game would have been able to write off the 165 bill. Sorry, but you know, I think this is the reason why we haven't seen a new Batman game in a while, because there's no way they would have been able to try and push one out of the door while the company's up for sale, because people's jobs would have been on the line at the same time.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. I've not even thought of it from that sort of perspective. For those of you just tuning in as well, I've just added the Discussing Now slate it is a little bit of a decipher, so you need to decipher that to read it. Acti/EA to buy Warner Bros. Int. Everything in this is such long words. Activision, Warner Brothers Interactive, and so on. Long story short, Activision and EA, as well as I think it said 2K as well. Take-Two, should I say? Yeah, Take-Two. So Activision, Take-Two, and EA are all looking at buying Warner Brothers Interactive. So yeah, that is a good point.
Imagine taking all of them though, because we've only taken the article only pulls out Batman and Mortal Kombat because obviously they're two of the massive ones. But imagine taking the catalog of Lego games.
Yeah, that's like the thing. The thing there though is I mean, it mentions it within the article that you're buying the studios, not necessarily the titles. So. But what it does is opens up the potential for licensing. So if you take away the studio that makes the Lego games, you could potentially start to make those games and just pay a fee off to the licensee owners, kind of thing. And then you'd most likely be first in line to pick up the Harry Potter game, and most likely be the first in line to pick up the Batman games. You don't necessarily get those, and you have to pay extra for those. But if those games are worth their salt, then you basically have the first bite at the cherry, because the studio's already been familiar with the titles, they're already building them. You're just essentially taking ownership of the studio and then paying to sort of lease those titles in a way. But yeah, that the Batman comment that you mentioned about is that the reason why it's been delayed? Do you know, I've not even thought of it from that perspective. For those of you that haven't been keeping an eye on the Batman games, I haven't. So it has been quite apparent, because I'm seeing other people that are fans of Batman games, like Bib and elsewhere, that have been clamouring for the Batman games. I even mentioned it on stream last night, that they've been teasing, new Batman content coming effectively. They've not said it as that, in that level of detail, but they tease it. And usually when you tease something, within 7 days, 14 days, or whatever, you'll get something that gives you a little bit of an idea of what that teaser is. But was it Warner Brothers Montreal teased something like last year or this year or something on Batman Day, and then
it was earlier this year, yeah,
and then nothing happened. It was like, literally just that was it. That was just it. It's like me going, oh baby, guess what? Yeah. And you go, what? And then me just talking about anything else, not even talking, just sitting there quiet and completely ignoring that I even said something. So maybe that's it. Maybe they were on the verge of doing something, and then suddenly there's a financial meeting internally where they're like, do you know what? You do realise that we're £165 billion in debt, and yes, we might make a shitload of money on this game, but we're not going to make $165 billion. So we need to hold on that, because if we start to develop this and get this to the point where it's a package that needs to be shipped, and we then sell the developers and so on. So yeah, there could have been conversations around that for sure. Got to quickly jump back in the chat. Madge says, Slag, Sludge, Snarl, Swoop, and the leader, Grimlock. Yeah, there we go. There's a man who knows his Transformers. Do you know, seeing as Madge knows Transformers, I mean, hardly anyone I've ever spoken to has that level of information for Transformers. Do you know who Laserbeak is? I used to be big in Transformers when I was little, and I had a book, and it was called like Laserbeak Fury or something, and Laserbeak was basically a Transformer. I won't go into what the Transformer is. Anyway, nobody else ever knows what Laserbeak is, and that was one of my favourite Transformers growing up. But anyway, back into the room. Enix says, our Xbox, who art in gaming, hallowed be thy game, thy shall be pwned, wait and respawn, in purchasing those who are desperate not to be bought by EA Activision. What the bloody hell? Only people with money to buy them. PlayStation, Xbox, Activision, and EA. And Take-Two, obviously. Take-Two have got the most valuable IP in gaming ever. So Take-Two definitely do have the money. It's whether Take-Two... One thing they aren't at Take-Two is frivolous. So yeah, Take-Two, I can't imagine. I'd say they're third behind Activision EA. One thing Activision and EA do is they're comfortable gambling with money. So they'd be comfortable buying this knowing that they could lose a shit ton on it. Whereas Take-Two earn a fuck ton but don't overstep usually. Why we've not heard any about any of their games for a while, not that Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. Yes.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a look at that Harry Potter open world game, because I think that will be class. And I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan, but I'm all for an open world magic game.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I'm very pro Harry Potter. So I mean, I'd definitely play a good level Harry Potter. When I say a good level, I don't mean like child orientated, like family fun. I want something that's maybe a bit more family orientated than most.
A darker version of Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. So
like what we got with Batman, we got a darker version of Batman, didn't we, with the Arkham game? So we had Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, and Arkham Knight. They was darker versions of what you'd expect from a Batman game.
Yeah,
so something
exactly.
like that, it would be amazing.
Maybe not even to that level. Maybe to the level of the Lord of the Rings games or Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Something that's still family, but a bit more substance to it. If like a Harry Potter a game of that level is absolutely a game that I'd be interested in. But yeah, I mean, okay, let's say then, if the studios are going to be purchased by another brand in the games industry, obviously the three that are referenced in the article are Take-Two, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard. What are your thoughts on... actually, let me change to the split screen as well. I'm not even in that. I'm just on me. What are your thoughts on Take-Two, EA, or ActiBliz having ownership of the Mortal Kombat content then?
Well, I mean, if I had a choice out of those three, I would obviously have Take-Two. I think they would. I think they would have the time and the patience to build a great game. I think EA. I don't know, because Fallen Order obviously was a good game, and Activision still do the likes of Call of Duties and the little title that's coming out with Tony Hawk's. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, a Tony Hawk's game isn't massive news. But if I was to choose either one of them three, I would obviously want Take-Two to take it, because I know full well they would pour their heart and soul into making a great, for me, Batman game. I imagine they would do the same with Mortal Kombat as well. So, yeah, I think Take-Two would be my ideal if there was to sell them. I mean, this is only... I don't want to say it's speculation. Well, it kind of is at the moment, because I don't think there's anything on the table. It's just stating how much they are in debt and how much potentially they need to get rid of these. I don't want to say IPs, because there's obviously a lot more to it. These studios. So at this moment in time, it's only speculation. But if I was to speculate, I would like Take-Two to take it. But I am still open to Activision taking it. I just don't want EA to.
Yeah, my issue with both of those, and you mentioned it in your opening sort of gambit at the start of it, was there's nothing inherently wrong with EA or Activision. They make some phenomenal games, games that we'll all plough time into. But what they're very good at, and quite often to the what's the word? At the expense of enjoyment of the game, is making money quite often. So
push it out the door early.
Not only that, but the in-game sort of element kind of thing. And Batman and Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter, it's not, none of them are about that sort of in-game cosmetic purchasing, battle pass, season pass, and heaven forbid, loot boxes and stuff. But EA and Activision both have spent a shitload of time, resources, fine-tuning those sort of things so they can make more money off them. And obviously these conversations are going now regarding loot boxes, which being in the UK, I mean, it may be a geographical thing, but when I think of loot boxes, I instantly think of FIFA, because I'm a UK football video gamer, and that is the biggest and football game with more eyes on it, and so therefore that will be the one that comes up in conversations around loot boxes. So from that side of things, not that you can instantly throw loot boxes into Mortal Kombat or into Harry Potter or whatever, but let's just look at a big franchise that isn't necessarily based on loot boxes or mechanics, and is huge from the world of cinema, not just video games. Let's look at Star Wars. And EA managed to take Star Wars and make that the most loot box ridden game that the world has ever seen and probably ever will see in Star Wars Battlefront 2. They changed that so that it took them 12 months to fix their internal faults because they were so engineered on turning an expensive IP, because it would have cost a shitload of money to license Star Wars, to turn that expensive IP into something that's going to break them profit off of it. They were too focused on profit. So if they pick up Harry Potter RPG and get the license to that because they've bought the studios, obviously the studio, just to reiterate, the sale of Warner Brothers Interactive Studios doesn't include the titles. So as it says here, if a sale goes through, many of the Warner Brothers IP tied to in-game development, in-development games such as Harry Potter and Batman would not be part of the deal, but could be licensed. So if they purchase those studios, they're probably going to be first refusal on licensing the games that they've been working on. So suddenly Harry Potter gets picked up. Is that going to have chests and gears and stuff that you have to open to get enough stuff to be able to actually buy the wand that you want, or the Patronus charm, or whatever things that they're going to have in it, like they did with Star Wars? I mean, I imagine they won't, because they've learned quite a lot from that. Mm-hmm. But still, I'm just thinking, I'm not sure. And then the other side of the thing, you've got Activision, who they've thrown loot boxes into Call of Duty games over the last few years. However, they've started battle passing it with Warzone, and they're starting to learn quite a bit, which is very encouraging. So, I mean, Activision will do a good job of making multiplayer and all of that sort of stuff, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, a different angle, as Jordan mentioned in the chat. Where's his comment? Okay. Only people with money to buy them, meaning Warner Brothers Interactive, are PlayStation, Xbox, Activision, and EA. Obviously, Take-Two are in that list as well. But he mentions their first parties, PlayStation and Xbox. One thing we have seen is first parties buying up. Actually, before I continue this as well, I did see it 6 minutes ago, but let me just hit repeat on this. Did we just become best friends? Yep. There we go. Talking Boxes Network, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome into the stream. We were just in mid-flow with the conversation then, so I didn't want to break out. But thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. How are you doing? Yeah. So could we see first parties jumping in for something? I mean, they're going to be studios. It's not like they're just buying indies. We have seen studios buying indies, and we have first parties buying indies, and we have seen first parties buying bigger brands too, particularly Xbox. They've been on a huge drive to get a lot more games under their umbrella, because we've seen it already. The first party battle from PlayStation to Xbox was massively in PlayStation's favour, and that's not even any sort of fanboyism there. It's obvious. PlayStation's first party titles are better. They have been better. They've won a generation, and that's not up for discussion, because Xbox know that, because how many studios have Xbox bought in the last 2-3 years with the view to battling that? So if they're in the idea that we need more studios to make more games that are going to be exclusive to give the Xbox ecosystem that upper hand, could buying something as big as Warner Brothers Interactive be their next step? I think it's pretty possible. What are your thoughts?
I've just seen Jordan's comment then saying, I've mentioned that Xbox would probably like to pick it up. So Spider-Man would be on the PlayStation and Batman would be on the Xbox. I personally can't see that. I'm 95% sure that Batman had timed exclusives on the PlayStation 4 for me. I don't know whether or not it was just for the games or just for the DLC. I'm fairly certain they had timed exclusives. So I'm guessing the partnership is quite strong with the PlayStation in the first place. It wouldn't surprise me to see Mortal Kombat. Again, I think they would have had to. I think they did have timed exclusives as well, or the DLC would have come first, like RoboCop or Terminator or something, to the PlayStation first. I think it would be a lot more expensive to bring something like Batman as into an exclusivity deal, whether or not it'd be for a year or not on the Xbox. I mean, like you said, previous partnerships won't matter if they're being bought out. I do fully agree with that. But I think if that was the case and Xbox was going to try and buy it to be an exclusive to the Xbox, I think PlayStation would throw more money at it.
That's the thing, though. It's like, where is the line?
Because become a bidding war, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and at the point where you're spending an absolute fortune just to get titles that aren't going to make the money back, kind of thing. I could see Xbox being a bit more fierce in those sort of bidding wars because they're the ones that have the ground to make up. PlayStation are like, well, we're already in the lead. Do we need to? I mean, in all fairness, Batman games and all the other titles. So let's go through this list. None of them are small titles. Batman, Mortal Kombat, the potential Harry Potter game, TT games, so the Lego games, Monolith, which gives you the Middle-earth, Mordor, Shadow of War, and so on. So none of those are small games by any means. They are huge games. None of them are super successful triple A's. I mean, but I'm saying that with a bit of a hint of understanding that I am talking about games that are super successful, like Batman, and less probably to the less of the same extent. The Mordor games and so on are huge, but not as big as the Batman Arkham games and stuff. But those, whilst they are critically acclaimed and they have sold really well and stuff, they're never usually the ones that top people's lists. Not like the Spider-Mans or the Halos or whatever like that. So they are really big games. So I can see PlayStation going, yeah, we'll take them. And then Xbox going, here's more money. And then PlayStation going, actually, do you know what? We're not bothered then because they are big, but we're in front and we don't need to rock our boat because we're already in front. So yeah, you take it if you want. So I could see Xbox being a bit more vicious in a bidding war with that. But yeah, and where was it, Jordan's comment? Previous partnerships won't matter if they're being bought out. The bit that you've mentioned, we've seen that kind of being done in the past. So you mentioned, obviously, exclusives on PlayStation. We've seen brands in the past essentially have a wedge of cash thrown at them. I think PlayStation did it with Call of Duty. Wasn't Call of Duty aligned to Xbox for ages? And then PlayStation threw shitloads of money at it. So like at the start of the 360 generation, Call of Duty was kind of Xbox, and then PlayStation went wedge of cash, and now Call of Duty is PlayStation because they wanted to kind of get in front. I mean, we could see Xbox doing that in reverse, going, okay,
yeah,
we want them. We don't even care if we're going to overpay because we want to put that in the Xbox. What was it? Microsoft World Studios? What's the actual name for it now? I can't remember. I think PlayStation's PlayStation World Studios.
But is it? No, it's not. It's not Microsoft Worldwide Studios, is it? That's Sony in it.
Yeah.
Xbox Game Studios.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't be adverse to Xbox giving the full exclusivity to only have Batman on there. I don't. To be fair, at this moment in time, I don't care who has it, as long as they want to put the time and effort to be able to make a decent game out of it. Now, what I'm about to say, Jordan will be fucking going wild about this, but recently Xbox has given us a perfect single player experience, and this is something that we talked about on Friday. Like, Microsoft seems to be focusing all their attention on games that potentially are multiplayer based. When it comes to single player exclusives or single player games, nobody at the moment is telling stories better than people who are involved with PlayStation, and that is what worries. And in fact, I don't even want to say it worries me, because we haven't had anything like a Batman game from something like Xbox. All I want, whoever it is, to take the game and make a decent one out of it. I don't care who does it. The only thing that I can say is that I don't think EA would do. I don't think they'd take the time that I think the rest of the Batman community deserves.
I wonder if, I mean, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was massive from sales. Was it like 20 times better than what EA expected? Because they put the effort and time into delivering a good first-person story. So maybe EA could be in there with a view that, actually, do you know what? Single player is there. There is a huge demand for single player. You release a single player story mode that's a playable film over Christmas, like they did with Jedi Fallen Order, and you just print money. So maybe that's what, like, I could see that being a possible thing. I mean, if I'm being honest, I'd see an Activision or someone getting there first. But if EA did, from my perspective, I'd be seeing them as, you release Harry Potter, which is imagine like dark imagery, spells and forests and building this narrative and story. You release that in September, October when it's colder and darker outside and you're spending more time indoors with the family and so on. That's another Christmas game like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So I could see I could see EA doing that. I mean, I'd probably be more likely to see it go elsewhere in my not absolutely no idea what's going on in the industry but complete guess world. I would say that EA wouldn't get it, but yeah, EA would take Batman and it would be like another prototype game, decent but very passable. I mean, some people did say that about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. Some people said it was probably better than decent but good, but also hints of passable. I really liked it, if I'm being honest. Parts of it were a bit tedious in the middle, but yeah, really liked it.
I mean, like Jordan said, if Obsidian was to take the game, then I would be perfectly happy with that. If it was anything like Fallout New Vegas, if it was anything like The Outer Worlds, which, funnily enough, were two of the same game, if you ever played any of them, because it was made by the same people. Dungeon Siege was also a fantastic game if anyone played that on the Xbox 360. And let's not forget South Park: The Stick of Truth, which was an absolute if you love South Park, The Stick of Truth was definitely a game that would be right up your street. I didn't like The Fractured Butthole as much, but The Stick of Truth was an absolute banger game. So I wouldn't be object to Obsidian taking it because I know they would put time and effort into creating a good game and a good single-player experience. But that's all I want at this moment in time. I don't care who takes it. I think Take-Two would be the best place to go because I think they would take the time and effort to make not only Batman a good game, because obviously the Mortal Kombat games, we've also got the Lego games on the table as well. I think they would be the best place to be able to go to take them. I think it will be a lot of work, but you know, these titles deserve decent level of writing, developing, publishing, the whole kit and caboodle. So Take-Two would be my place for them to go. I wouldn't be object to it becoming a Microsoft exclusive as long as the people who are going to be developing it are the right gaming studio.
Yeah, I agree. Madge says, any Batman game development seems unlikely with the state of play of DC, at least the title as good as the Arkham series. That was earlier back up in the chat. And he says, EA would take Batman... Oh, I've read that one already. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's all guesswork at this point. We'll probably get a little bit more as time goes on. But yeah, the key thing, I think, for me is I can't see it going first party. I say EA would probably last, but I'd see PlayStation and Xbox being last, probably in that order. PlayStation last, Xbox in front of PlayStation, and then we get to the likes of EA and so on. But what do I know? It could have already been wrapped up, and we could be sat here just waiting for the news. It could come out tomorrow. PlayStation buys it, and I'm like, yeah, no chance, mate. Oh. Yeah, as Jordan said, Microsoft bought some extremely good studios for single-player experiences. 100% they have done. And I still think we're probably a year and a half, 2 years away from seeing those titles. Maybe we might start to see them in a year, but we're probably 2 years away from playing them. But Microsoft are like a cornered animal kind of thing. They're already under threat. They're already second place in the industry, and that's when they're most dangerous because that's when they start to punch out and lash out and do a bit more than you'd expect them to do. So I wouldn't see it being off the agenda. And as you mentioned yesterday on stream, and I think you put it in the chat further up, read it out something. It was like having Microsoft having Batman, so DC, and Sony having PlayStation. I mean, that would be a huge market battle. If I'm honest, with the state of DC in general, so in terms of DC films, not just video games, because obviously, as Madge said, DC is kind of a bit shaky. So obviously, we just had all of the big hurrah in the Marvel cinematic universe. DC has repeatedly failed at films, apart from the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously. So you kind of have to feel that Sony have got storytelling down. They've got Marvel who understand storytelling as well and have a good universe for it. If Xbox were to pick that up, are they already hamstrung by DC and DC's digital video game department and digital movie production department clearly aren't on the ball with storytelling in those mediums. They can tell a story really well in a comic book, but not in a video game and not in a movie. So if Xbox picked it up, are they going to be hamstrung again? Are they just buying the loser of that battle? Which that's when I'm starting to think Xbox might be going. Do you know what, actually? Batman is huge as a product in comic books, and so is Spider-Man. But in digital content, Batman recently has been weaker than the Marvel side of things because of things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and so on. So Xbox might be going, do you know what, actually, we don't want to step into a fight where we have to deal with other people's bullshit, i.e. DC, so therefore we might not win. So they might actually go, do you know what, not bothered. Console pricing will be their first strike. Sony is being stupidly reluctant, so is Xbox, on announcing pricing. How would you start a sentence like that? Sony is being stupidly reluctant. Sony only showed their console on Thursday. Microsoft showed us their console last year. How do you get so is Xbox in brackets? Microsoft is being stupidly reluctant on showing their pricing. Sony has only just announced, shown their console. So they started talking about the tech in it last year in the Wired content. But yeah, that's very fanboy written. Sony isn't being stupidly reluctant. Sony haven't announced their price. You as an Xbox fanboy are putting it that way. They already said it's not the cheapest console, so maybe Microsoft, if they announce Lockhart, will start with pricing. Microsoft should start with pricing. They had a full digital reveal in the Game Awards last year. By having that and sitting 6 months later on and still not having any pricing, that is being stupidly reluctant. And that's not even said with any sort of bias. It is. They are literally sat there waiting for a price because they've been done. They went too high previously, so they're not being reluctant because they want to be better for consumers. They're being reluctant so they can get as much profit out of it. So Sony haven't released their price. They're both coming out this year, but Microsoft have been praised for this marketing campaign that's had so much more in it than Sony's. Well, where's their price? They're the ones that have been stupidly reluctant because they've lost it at that battle before. I can't remember who, but I know Microsoft have assembled a fine selection of development teams. There's potential to create many good games. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember the studios that they purchased, but they do have a lot in the bag anyway. But think of what you could do. A Joker game would be huge.
From a Joker perspective, not sure about that. That'll be a very hard story to be able to write.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, we've seen the film, and for me, I mean, it was very down the middle. Either people loved it or people hated it. I know a lot of people who watched it just didn't. I don't want to say didn't get it because obviously that's me saying that it might be a bit thick, but it's one of them. You either loved it or you hated it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was a very slow burner. But as it started to build momentum, I absolutely loved it anyway. But I think writing a game from the Joker's perspective, if we are talking about the film, would be difficult. I mean, all I want in my life is to continue Mark Hamill being the Joker. We just get years of Mark Hamill being the Joker, and it's just the same thing over and over again from a Batman. You are the Batman, and you are chasing down the Joker. I mean, that's why I loved the Arkham game so much. But yeah, it's just one of them things.
You said I loved it or hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought from a production and an acting and everything perspective, phenomenal. But there was just so many, the story kind of do you know what, I'm not even going to talk about it because people might not have seen it, but there was bits in there, it's going to be, and then it's like, well, actually, no, it's not. So why did we have this story arc that didn't go anywhere kind of thing? If you've seen the film, you might know what I'm talking about without naming things. But yeah, there was a few bits where I was just like, well, you didn't really need to have that in then, did you? But yeah.
I mean, Joker at his core, without even going into detail of the film, if you are a fan of Batman and you are a fan of the entire Batman universe, you'll know the Joker just likes to cause chaos and destruction and everything that goes around it. This was kind of an Origins type of build-up, which is great to see from that perspective because for anyone who watched Gotham beforehand, it's a completely different story. You'd think that Gotham, the TV series, was kind of like the Origins because you've got a young Bruce Wayne, you've got a very young Penguin, you've got a young Edward Nigma. This kind of takes it to the other side of the spectrum as if it was like a parallel universe. So like the Joker is in his early 40s, early to late 40s, and then things start to happen in his life that cause him to be a bit disgruntled and become an anarchist. So it's very weird the amount of parallel universes that we've got going on. And I mean, a game in each one of them universes would be amazing for me as a Batman lover. So I don't know. It's
I like the end of the film where you got the sort of like the crescendo of the origin. That made sense, but there was a few bits before it where it's. I'm gonna explain it in very vague terms, so I don't have to say anything. Imagine like you want to get yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to get from A to B, so you've got a road. Jobs are good. You travel down that road. You got from A to B. Ta-da! And they can be twists and turns, but you're still on the same road. And the weird thing was like, it was like there was side roads. And often you'd go down a side road that weaves back into the main road. But this was kind of like you go down the side road and it's like, oh, that's actually not a thing. So you have to come back on yourself, back onto the main road. And that was the thing. I mean, the people that had issues with the film are usually, well, from what I've seen, have all been the same sort of thing. There was a few things in there that was kind of like, well, why? That's just kind of distracted from the main thing. But if you take that stuff away and then you stick from the A to B thing, so you get the start of the film and you get how the film ends, that for me was perfect. There was a few bits on the side which kind of added a little bit to his psychosis and his like mental deterioration over the course of the film. So they do add a bit in that sort of sense. But from a narrative perspective, there was just a couple of bits was like, I didn't really need that much. From my perspective, anyway. Obviously. I mean, I'm saying that this film's won shitloads of Oscars and got 10 out of 10. So what the fuck do I know? But
what I love what Craig just said there, and it's something that I've echoed myself. Said it before, but a Batman game using the Shadow of Mordor engine and having the option for crime bosses and rising up the ranks.
Is that the Nemesis system?
And every time you die, a new boss comes back in again. That for me is ideal. I'd absolutely love that. Yes. It just gives a bit more to the game. I mean, the games are longish as they are, but this would just add another dimension to it. I think that would be great.
So having crime bosses and stuff like that, is that the Nemesis system?
Yeah. I'm sure that's what they called it. Yeah. So you'd literally just have rows and rows. So you'd have the very top one, which would be, I don't know, the Joker, for instance, and then you'd have before him Two-Face, the Penguin, whoever it will be down the list of. And I don't know what I'm trying to break them down into who would be the weakest boss, but I don't know. And then you just work up to the Joker. That would be amazing.
I'm trying to remember the battles. So there's Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, Bane. That's it. It's just trying to rank them in strength, because it'd be a bit insulting to put someone like Poison Ivy as your first row of weakest opponents. But yeah, it's trying to break them out into tiers would be the difficult thing. But having, I don't know, 30, 40 different bosses across the Batman universe spectrum would be amazing just to get to the Joker at the end. That would be awesome.
If a small-time crime boss happens to kill you, he goes up the ranks and remembers you down the line. So is that how the Nemesis system works? I mean, I do have Shadow or Mordor. You've done it as well. I do have Shadow of Mordor on Steam, but I've never actually played through it. It's another one of the games that I have that I've never played. Morning, Mr. Tassim Anvia.
Hello.
For anyone in the chat as well that doesn't know Tassim Anvia, feel free to click on his name and hit the follow button. Word has it he may be streaming The Last of Us or some other games this week. Go check him out. Give him the follow. Do it. Joker games set in a Saints Row engine. Ooh. Yeah, I'd take that. If he does spot you, he tends to run away and gets his henchmen to hunt you down. Are we talking about Asim? Because I can completely relate to this.
Well, yeah, if you're a Joker set in Saints Row, what just the mad world destruction. As long as they don't have like super jump and shit like that we had in the later Saints Row stuff. I mean, if it was set in like Saints Row 1 or 2, before it started to get a bit supernatural, bit over the top, then that would be amazing because the destruction of the city would be quality. But yeah, I mean, for me, what Craig's just talking about, having the Shadow of Mordor engine and the character, I mean, the combat was pretty much exactly the same anyway. So I'll take that, and we'll have the Nemesis system in there. That would be amazing.
Well, do you know what? We're going to put a pin in that because we have a few more articles to go, and we're 50 minutes in already. This is what happens when we get Bibby talking about Batman. Honestly. God. To be fair, we're lucky.
The wall. I think I've shown you before, but I'm going to show you again. I've got this. I need to get a proper frame for it. But this is one of my favorite things. Samantha got me this from Comic-Con.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can actually see that.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
But that's like one of my favorite things.
I mean, it's a good job Asim didn't come in sooner, because if we'd have had Bibby and Asim both talking about Batman throughout this, I mean, we're 51 minutes into it now, and we're only just going to move on to our second story. We might as well. I mean, I'd have just had a bit of a curl up on the floor, have a bit of a nap. Job's a good one. But anyway, let's move forward. Oh, move my water bottle because I can't see my screens. Get rid of this person now. Okay, next article of the day. Rogue One writer Gary Whitta is writing Square Enix's Project Athia. This is written by Cian, Maher for VG247. The article says, Rogue One, a Star Wars story screenwriter Gary Whitta recently announced that he will be leading the writing team for one of Square Enix's upcoming games, the mysterious Project Athia. Excuse me 1 second. As well as Rogue One, Whitta has worked as a writer on the Book of Eli, Star Wars Rebels, The Walking Dead, and much more. As of this week, he confirmed his involvement in the upcoming PS5 console-exclusive Project Athia, where he will be spearheading the writing department. Despite being exclusive to PS5 on console, Project Athia will also be coming to PC. Whitta originally made the announcement on Twitter in response to our friends at US Gamer, and you can check out the tweet below. I'll just read it within the article, but the tweet obviously is there. US Gamer's tweet originally said, Project Athia designed exclusive for the PS5 by Square Enix. So Gary Whitta responded with, really proud to reveal I led a crack team of A-list writers from the worlds of film, TV, games, and fantasy literature who helped create this immense new universe for Square Enix, writes Whitta. Can't wait for you to see and learn more. Stay tuned. Whitta was also quick to mention that this was not the big announcement he had apparently mentioned earlier that day, meaning that he's probably involved in another simultaneous writing project. How one man finds the time to write that much while still hosting an incredibly successful and heartening podcast in Animal Crossing is beyond me. And not only that, he's just had a fucking comic book release as well. What was it? Was that a Batman one?
Yeah, it's the 80th anniversary one. He had Greg Miller also chipped in to write with him. There's something that co-wrote it. That doesn't make sense. Co-wrote it along with I think there was 10 other writers with different comics in the 80th anniversary one. But yeah, this guy is everywhere, man. What was his motto?
If you ain't moving forward, you're standing still, or something like that.
If you ain't making moves, you're standing still, mate.
I was trying to look at.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, I was doing something else. I've just noticed. Grazity, good morning. I can see you with your 1 month subscriber badge. However, I can't see a notification for your sub. I know we were talking about it last night, but thank you very much for the sub. Much appreciated.
I can see it in the activity feed on the dashboard, but I'm using the web one, so I can't redo the thing.
Let me. Yeah.
Streamlabs.
Okay, I can't see it. It's not in my feed at all. I can see 15 hours ago on stream, Flatty McFlatchest followed, and I can see from that upwards, but I can't see Grazity's sub. But thank you very much for the sub, Grazzy. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and let's finish this cycle. As for Project Athia itself, it's a breathtakingly gorgeous game that unfortunately we don't know very much about yet, but you can take a brief look at it if you fancy. It's been developed by Luminous Productions, a subsidiary of Square Enix, formed out of key developers who worked on Final Fantasy 15. In related news, Gary Whitta wants to make a Star Fox movie after apparently being quite impressed with God of War art director Ralph Grassetti's realistic Star Fox designs. Whitta also wants to make a movie adaptation of Remedy's Control, and Remedy is interested. Bloody hell, Gary Whitta. God.
He's everywhere, the lad.
Honestly.
Great style.
Anything you want to add to that story, Vid?
Yes, I was extremely excited for this game in the first place. This was one of my 13 from the PlayStation Showcase that I was actually really interested in playing. And now I'm not going to say I wasn't going to be interested in the story beforehand, because obviously I was. Because I put it down as one of the games that I wanted to know. But I know, again, Gary Whitta is going to give the love and care to this game to make it a decent storyline. So, again, even more excited to be able to play this now. I love the fact, though, that because he's a massive fan and what things look like of Star Fox, he wants to make a film of that. And then he played through Control, loved the storyline and that, and he wants to make a film of that. These are all passion projects, what it seems to be from my side of things. If he likes the look of something and he thinks he can add something, it becomes a passion project more than anything. It's not, people aren't just coming to him with scripts and whatever it will be to me. I don't know the whole ins and outs of making films, but it's not as if people are coming to him and saying, here we go, here's all of this, can you do something with it? He's actively looking for ways to make things better from his own perspective, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah, I'm a fan. The interesting thing from my perspective for Gary Whitta is how good he's been across spectrum, which shows you how good a writer he is. So it's not just writing for video games and so on. Rogue One, which, I mean, some people like Rogue One, some people don't. Most people, I would feel, do. I really like Rogue One, particularly at the end.
I enjoyed it.
But obviously, I mean, he wrote the best Star Wars movie in recent times, says Asim. Well, exactly. There you go. Jobs are good. I mean, I love Rogue One, and not only that, I mean, forgetting that, just his creative element. So obviously, did he even mention his Animal Crossing talk show?
Yeah, it's towards the bottom of the article.
So yeah, someone that has success in so many different spectrums, that shows you that someone that's just an accomplished storyteller. So if you can tell stories at the heart of things, if you know what makes a good story, how to deliver it and so on, then the spectrum in which you're delivering that story almost becomes inconsequential. Not entirely. Sometimes the spectrum can ruin a story, but that's just got to feel someone that's delivered narrative and different types of narrative, from movies to talk shows to writing for scripted series like The Walking Dead and so on. If he can do everything across that wider plane, then you've got to feel that Project Athia has a very, very good story behind it, potentially.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to playing it. As I said, it was one of my 13 games-ish. There was 2 maybes in there. So we'll just call it 13 for the sake of this. That I was actually excited to play out off the back of the PlayStation conference last Thursday. So yeah, I mean, this has got me a bit more excited now because I didn't know he was writing it. It's not as if I've changed my opinion entirely. Like, he's writing it now, so I'm definitely interested. But yeah, now I'm even more excited to play it.
Yeah.
Oh, Shogun saying, up the ICU, big up.
Up the ICU, up the ICU. Actually, just on the subject of Grazity's sub, if you've just done, has that just been done, or was that last night?
No, it was last night. It was 12 hours ago.
Okay. I was going to say maybe refreshing the stream might give you the little option to share it within the channel. That might then trigger it in the mini feed on Streamlabs. But
see, I'm using the web one, so I don't actually have that. I've got 3 dots next to the person's name, but it just says report because I'm using the dashboard in the back end. I don't have Streamlabs open on my PC, do I? Because it just shits itself. Which is why I'm going to use OBS.
I can see that in the dashboard. 12 hours ago, I can see that now. But yeah, I think it has to be triggered in, like, so obviously when you get that share function, I think that's what triggers it in the mini feed on Streamlabs. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But either way, thank you very much for doing that for us. That's very much appreciated. Last night after you told me about it. There we go. Dropping that Prime sub. Make sure you use it every month as well. Like I say, whether it's on our channel or not, you've got £5 to spend on Amazon's dime, so make sure you use it. Anyway, we were talking about Bibby's 12, 13 potentially games from the Sony conference. That's a nice, tedious link into our next bit of news, which says Insomniac confirms Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone PS5 game. This was obviously at the end of last week, but we've seen quite a few people weren't quite sure how Miles Morales, whether it was just DLC, whether it was an add-on, whether you got whatever. So obviously we thought it'd be best to bring this back to the fore, as I am absolutely going to butcher your name. I apologise. Gartenberg? Chaim? C. Gartenberg on Twitter says for The Verge says Insomniac confirms Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone PS5 game, reportedly a spin-off similar in scope to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Insomniac Games has confirmed that the newly announced Spider-Man Miles Morales will be a standalone title for the PS5, quashing rumours that the title was simply a remastered version or an expansion of the original PS4 Spider-Man that had been swirling since their reveal. Spider-Man Miles Morales will reportedly be smaller in scope than the original, though, per a Bloomberg report that compared it to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy in scope. Part of the confusion stems from comments from Simon Rutter, EVP, head of European business at Sony Interactive Entertainment, who commented in an interview with The Telegraph, "I guess you could call it an expansion and an enhancement to the previous game." Rutter went on to explain, "There's a substantial Miles Morales component, which is the expansion element, but also within the game as well, there's been major enhancements to the game and the game engine, obviously deploying some of the major PlayStation 5 technology and features." Okay, that clears it up for me, because even I thought my thoughts were based off of that comment from Simon Rutter. But anyway, let's carry on. Despite Rutter's comments, though, developer Insomniac Games has confirmed in a tweet that Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone game that continues the adventure of the video game Spider-Man. Uncharted Lost Legacy was a 2017 spin-off from mainline series entry Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, which shared similar gameplay elements, graphics, and technology as the previous title, but it was a smaller, shorter experience than a traditional Uncharted game. It was also sold for $39 at retail instead of a full $59 price tag. Spider-Man Miles Morales, according to Bloomberg's report, will follow a similar strategy with a significantly shorter runtime than the original Spider-Man, which took around 40 hours to complete, not counting DLC expansions. But unlike The Lost Legacy, which was released on the same platform as Uncharted 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales will have the added wrinkle that, in addition to focusing on a new character and adding new gameplay features, the PS5 title will also build on the PS4 game with new technical improvements to take advantage of the console's more powerful hardware. A post on the PlayStation blog details some of these improvements, including near instantaneous fast travel across Marvel's New York City and highly detailed character models and enhanced visuals compared to the original PS4 title. Spider-Man Miles Morales will be released on the PS5 this holiday season. So, Jordan, what I told you last night about don't worry if you don't finish Spider-Man because you can play it all again in Miles Morales is bullshit. Cheers, Simon Rutter, for that confusion. So, long story short, play Spider-Man on your PS4, finish that, and then, at that point in time, you can then play Spider-Man Miles Morales because it follows on as a separate, complete standalone game. The way I read it was based on Simon Rutter's comments that it was an enhancement on top of the original game. So I read it as like, you play... Imagine Spider-Man Miles Morales 1.5. I read it as you still got the full 1, and then the 0.5 just followed it in the narrative. Rather than getting the credits and the game ends, you get the extra stuff at the end of it. But yeah, there were people generally upset that this is not a Spider-Man 2 loses mind. It's a standalone game like Uncharted Lost Legacy and Infamous First Light, an expansion of the story/universe of the original. It'll most likely be awesome. Plus, Insomniac are also working on Ratchet & Clank. Give them a break, upset people. I 100% agree. It doesn't need to be a standalone game in terms of a full sequel. I mean, you're using the technology and improving it with extra content for the start of a new generation. That completely works for me. My only issue isn't that. Like I said, my issue was the confusion that comes from the Rutter stuff in terms of he either didn't know and he was just kind of put on the spot and tried to give an answer that he thought was the case that might not have been the case, or he's just done a really bad job at expressing that. But yeah, I thought if you've got Spider-Man PS4, you could play the same thing again on PS5, but you essentially get the Miles Morales content within that. So if you paid for it, you got the full game and Miles Morales as well. But yeah, it's clearly not the case. It is just, as we were speaking last week. So initially, I think when we were having the watch along, we were talking about Lost Legacy and First Light as it being that sort of thing, and then Rutter's comments made me think, oh, maybe not, maybe it is that, but with included, and now he's back to, yeah, it is that kind of thing. Arm says pricing will be the critical thing with this Spider-Man game. If it's an 8 to 10 hour game, can't justify more than £20 to £25. See, I think there is another factor in there, though. I agree with that sentiment, but it's the next generation. Everything, you add 10 quid to that, a minimum. So video games, let's just say the rough RRP of a video game is 45 quid. I mean, obviously some are more, some are less. Let's just say it's 45 quid. The previous gen, the rough cost of a game was 35 quid. So this gen, expect games to be 55 quid probably. So that 20 to £25 for this is probably going to be 30 to £35 on the next gen, because there's always a markup. That will probably normalise and balance out over time. But yeah, obviously, inflation, that's essentially, you don't get gradual inflation in video games, you just get a leap in pricing across a generation. So yeah, I reckon we're probably looking at 30 to 35 quid. I mean, if it comes at 2025, happy days, oh happy days. Bundle it with a PS5 would be a good idea, I think. Yeah, I reckon that's the thing. This will be... I mean, it is a launch title, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it was. I reckon most of the offers will be get the PlayStation and the Miles Morales game as part of the bundle. I would be surprised if that's not the case. Not only that, it adds to the stats, so even if people aren't really that bothered for it, it looks really good on numbers, and we've seen how Nintendo have been doing that with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I reckon that'll be the case. Brennan, anything you want to add before I move on, as we've got one more story to jump into, Bib?
No, I don't think I have. I mean, I think at the time when we was watching the conference, the big giveaway for me was that there wasn't a number at the end of it, and that's why I immediately thought it was either going to be DLC for the game, or it was just going to be a little standalone one. I'm sure I said that at the time as well. So the fact that people are still going wild about it and the sick to the back teeth of apparently being robbed, yeah, there's no hope for those kind of people, unfortunately. Sorry, yeah, like you yesterday, my mouse just decided to fall off.
Yeah, for those of you that want...
just reclamping it down.
Those that weren't watching the stream last night, I was playing PUBG, and you can't see it because I like to have a clean setup. So in an ideal world, I'd be closer to the microphone so you can get that full radio DJ noise, and I'd have the microphone here, but I like to have a clean screen without the microphone in it. So yeah, it's off the side. Anyway, yesterday as we were playing with Jordan, just the whole arm fell down, landed on the keyboard, almost scratched the monitor and everything. It was fun. It wasn't fun. I'll be buying it no matter what. Lol, Spider-Man PS4 was my game of the year. Yeah, I mean, we're all going to be buying it, really, aren't we? Can we get a 6 Spidey-themed PS5 case? Did you see the Boss Logic mock-up that Bib posted the other day?
Oh, that was sexy, that. Yeah. That's my choice of console.
See, I was having this conversation. When I was looking at them, I was like, I do like that, but I like the blue on a PS4, on a PS console, so I think, okay, maybe the black one, maybe I'll go for that one. And then I looked at them the next day, and the black one just looked a bit too boring for me at that point in time. And I think I was having this conversation yesterday with Jordan, actually. So when I first saw the white one, I was like, I can see where they're going, but I'm not sure. But that was the exact same thing with the DualSense 5 for me. And then when I looked at it again, I was like, actually, that's really nice. And then like I have all 3 of those images saved on my phone. So when I tweeted Boss Logic's black console after you tweeted the red one, so this I'm going to show you my phone on screen, so it's not going to be very clear. But there is the PS5. Oh, you can see my window. Trees. So there's the PS5 in black with blue. And then next to it is the one that Bibby tweeted, which is the Miles Morales mock-up, so black with red. See, the Spider-Man one is good because of the spider like motif on the side, but the black one just looks a bit... It just doesn't look as exciting. And now when I look at this one, I'm like, oh, okay. Now, so putting that alongside them, I'm feeling like there's a bit more substance to it. So yeah, I must admit, it's grown on me now. I think the white one is now my fave now. So yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question here, and off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But has there ever been a nice looking console? Because for as long as I can remember, they've all looked like really, really small boxes. I can't think of a really nice looking console. I can think of nice looking PC towers because there's 1,000,001 of them there with like glass side windows and LED lights coming out of its arsehole. But I can't think of a nice looking console, and I don't mean ones where they've been reskinned, like the R2-D2 one or the Gears of War one or something like that. I mean, the actual shape of a console, has there ever been a nice looking one? Because as far as I can remember, they've all looked like little small boxes.
I remember liking, at the time, like the Sega Mega Drive, but look at it now and it's ugly as feck. So I'd probably...
Crystal Xbox is a shout by Arms. Yeah, the see-through one, that was nice. But the shape of a console, I cannot remember any nice-looking consoles.
Do you know, I will... I'll stick my name on this one, and it's very recent, actually. I'll bring it on screen. There we go. The grey retro PS4 Pro. I really like that one. The PS4 Pro in white, I actually still quite like. I don't mind the design of the PS4 Pro. I think it's because it's so minimalist, it's inoffensive, but the grey retro throwback, I can't pick faults with that. I really like it. So I would say that one is probably my favourite in recent time. Yeah, I mean, they were all kind of good in time, but none of them really set the world on fire, can't they? So the Xbox 360 was good for its time. Yeah, see, I didn't mind the Xbox 360, but I also didn't particularly love it that much. But then again, the
which Xbox 360 though, because the original arcade one that came out was fucking awful, and then they did the slim. It wasn't the slimline one. It's the one that I've got here that I don't want to take out, but I'm sure it's got 120 or 250 gig hard drive in it. It might have been the slim one. I think that's the one that I've got here. But that was a lot better than the original arcade one. That was fucking awful.
The reason Bibby didn't want to take it out is not because it's plumbed in or anything. It's just it's quite old, and when Bibby was playing on that, it was a little bit more immature. It says Bibby is a player with an A on the end of it. Bibby is a player.
It's all black. I'm not a fucking idiot. In fact, yeah, it's actually not plugged in. It's just got the power cable and I ain't got the HDMI in it. But here we go. This is, oh my god, it's dusty as shit. But this one right here.
Yeah, see, I prefer the grey Xbox 360. I didn't at the time, but now looking back on it, I think, yeah, I'm not. Maybe it's the high gloss sort of finish. Maybe it's that because at the moment high gloss is kind of so last generation, darling. Yeah, not next generation. Yeah. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Jiroon's Jenkins. Hi chat. Good morning,
yes,
Jenkins. This is cheating because it's handheld, but the Nintendo DS Lite in white looked hot. I'll give you that one. Although it's cheating, don't count. Get out. N64 looked good.
The PS Vita was sexy as fuck as well.
Yeah, that's true. I seem like the 362 man of culture. There's a lot of love for the 360 in the chat. Yeah, like I say, I didn't mind the 360. I preferred it in grey to black. That matte grey finish that obviously was standard initially. But yeah,
I'm devastated. Nobody said the Pikachu N64.
No comment.
Did you ever see that? It was all blue with like a Pikachu on it, and then the power button was a Pokeball.
Let's have a look.
It was an absolute disaster of a console.
Yeah. Let's have a look on screen for those of you that don't know.
It was so ugly.
Where's my sound effects?
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It was so ugly.
It's Clefairy! Fuck! RIP headphone users, I apologise. Yeah, handhelds I'd say are a little bit of a different beast. Handhelds, everything kind of has to be confined. If you've made a handheld look ugly, then you've done it badly. Everything, because like you just look at how easy it is to do a phone. Just make it that shape kind of thing. Jobs are good, and handheld that, but with a little bit of niceness around it. Jobs are good. I think the DS is really nice. Not so much with the Switch. Not so much with the coloured Joy-Cons. I'm a more of a monocolor kind of person, so if it was one solid colour, it doesn't have to be the grey, it could be whatever. I think that's a really nice console. But yeah,
the Switch Lite is beautiful. Like the colours that came in, I wish they'd have brought the normal Switch out in those colours. Was it like pastel blue and like a nice yellow as well? Oh, those amazing colours. I mean, that's what I loved about the Vita. The later Vita, not the on the LED screen, it was the revised version of it, where it had the big thicker start and select buttons. But the ones that they brought out in Japan, there was like a really nice blue colour and red ones that came out in Japan. But we just got stuck with the black ones over here.
Just want to stay relevant to the times. What was that one? The Vitas. Yeah. See, I think the Vitas definitely did look nice in the whites and so on. I mean, I still think they all look nice to a decent level. I mean, let's look at what it could have looked like. I mean, Magic Man says sexy handheld. Atari Lynx. Well, that was a
that was an abomination.
Yeah.
Lee bought one recently in the office, didn't he?
Yeah.
He brought his in.
He bought like three of them.
Have a game of this. It was shit. The games that he bought with it was shit. Like, I will play a lot of shit games, but I wouldn't even entertain playing some of those.
I mean, you want to talk about shit handhelds, and this is very, very relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, the Game Gear Mini, which comes complete with an attachable CRT TV. The fuck?
Here we go. I've got two absolute bangers here. Can anybody guess what these ones are? All right, so, bam!
Yeah, I had that, but I had the purple one.
With a copy of 40 games in one, including ISS.
Hey.
Standard stuff. It also had Batman and a load of Mario games.
Actually, I'm looking at it, but nobody else is. Do it again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So, bam!
Yeah, I had that, but purple.
And then we got this little cartridge to go along with it. I don't know how I've managed to keep these for so long, but yeah. And then this one, the Pierre de Resistance. Ready for it? Bam!
Yeah.
Tribal edition, clamshell design,
SP.
and bam!
Yeah. Do you know what? We have a tribal edition in the loft with that exact same game in it. You goddamn right we do. You goddamn right.
But do you have a copy of Wolverine's Revenge on the on the Game Boy Advance?
Thankfully, no. No, I don't.
I got this Minority Report and Pokemon Ruby, I think. Don't know where that's dropped off to, but there was on top of here, so I'll have to try and find that one again.
Yeah, chat believes you. Yeah. Shows the Wolverine game to the screen, but doesn't show Ruby. Yeah. I also have £1 million. Lies, mate. Whatever. Anyway. Let's move forward whilst Bibby goes to find Pokemon Ruby. Long story short, we got on a massive tangent, but Miles Morales is a standalone game. Final article before we drop off to jump back on again for Masters of the League. Let's jump into this one. Written by Andy Robinson for VGC. DayZ creator Dean Hall has unveiled his next game, Icarus. Free-to-play survival game is set on an alien world. Free-to-play survival game? Has somebody checked on, baby? Dean Hall, creator of the original DayZ mod, has unveiled his next game. Icarus is a free-to-play, multiplayer, cooperative survival game. What an essay that is. So what is it? It's a sports game. Okay, what's that? It's a free-to-play, multiplayer, cooperative survival game. Is it? All right, nice. Anyway.
Don't think that'll go on your stream title, will it?
Let me just repeat that. Icarus is a free-to-play, multiplayer, cooperative survival game which has players exploring a resource-rich alien world. While navigating each prospect's unique challenges, players must collect meta-resources to permanently progress, create advanced technologies, and take on longer missions, reads the game's official blurb. So I'm going to hit play on this while I'm reading it. I'll mute it though. Harsh environments demand an envirosuit, regular oxygen, food and water, shelter and constant attention. The wildlife is easily provoked and your plans may need to change on the fly. Take the resources you find back up to orbit to craft advanced technology for your drop, either with a crew or solo. Use your time wisely or be left empty-handed or even left behind. Calculate the risks, stretch your endurance and resources. How far are you willing to go? The game is being developed at Australian studio Rocketworks, whose team includes Brian Hicks, the former creative director of DayZ. It's Fortnite is building. Yeah. More details can be found on the Icarus Steam page. I literally hadn't heard anything about this, even though this was announced a couple of days ago. This is the first time I've seen this. So the gist is you drop onto the planet, loot, and get out. Essentially, it kind of sounds a little bit like, I mean, a completely different game, but sounds a little bit like Escape from Tarkov. Drop in, get your stuff, get looted, get out. Is it that kind of thing?
Maybe. I'm not sure. But the thing that I am not too sure about with this is it's free to play, and that worries me. I would much rather pay £20 for a game like this, because I know full well there isn't going to be any shitty microtransactions that are going to be coming up, because let's not forget, free-to-play games have usually stupid microtransactions in them. There is things like Fortnite, obviously, where you can buy skins, and that's how they make their money. But for this, I can't see that being the way. I think this is going to be one of them ones where you can drop in, you can collect your shit, but when you go back to your base and you want to try and build stuff, it's going to be real-time stuff. So it'll say, to build a wall, it'll take 30 minutes, but for the low price of £3, you can speed up this process and have your wall done in 20 seconds. And that is what frightens me about these kind of games, because on paper, it's my kind of game. But until I actually play it and get used to how the mechanics work and the time stuff that's around there, I think it'll be an absolute horror show. There's a game on Steam which is very similar to this called Subsidence, and that is an actual that is a game that you can pay £11 to play. Again, it's in early access, but it's a very similar type of thing. I've seen Show play 7 Days to Die because I've got that as well. That's the kind of game that I want. Everything's real time. So if you want to craft something, you can do that. You just need to go and forage the stuff that you need to be able to do the stuff. But I don't want to be able to be hindered by having to put money into speed processes up. And that, for me, is what like mobile free-to-play games are. You can get so far until you need to start putting money in to be able to progress to the next thing or speed stuff up, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you want to build a little small base and it's going to take you 3 days. Who's got 3 days of their time to wait for this without having to pay real money to be able to progress in the game? That barrier of entry doesn't work for me, and I will stop playing your game instantly.
Yeah, paywall. No, thank you. I'm out. When you said get so far, I instantly had Linkin Park in my head. Then I was going to go, yeah, I tried to play that. I tried so hard and I got so far, but you know, in the end, it doesn't even matter. So, but then I thought, actually, you know what? I can't even. In my head, I couldn't find a natural way to shoehorn it in quickly enough, so I thought I'd just explain it. But anyway. We're going to stop there. We're not going to spend too much time jumping into this, but DayZ creator Dean Hall has unveiled Icarus. It's a free-to-play survival game set on an alien world. Expect to see Shogun Ash live streaming that, as he said in the chat. Oh, mate, I am all over vid. it means this. It's fine. We know. It's fine.
The one above as well. Yes, the tribal SP is for the shagged.
that's shaggers that have shagged too much. It's like,
yeah, his D's been mixed up with his S, clearly.
No, it's the shagged.
It's the shagged.
You can tell when Show's excited because everything comes out in caps and the sentence ends in a D. It always ends in the D with Show. That's all I'm saying. Yes, No Man's Sky 2 confirmed. Jiha, and try not to fly into the sun. Yeah, good point. I mean, that was like a pretty dangerous sort of like takeoff. Trying to find it. Oh. Whee! Anyway, we are going to wrap things up. We are going to drop off and jump straight back on the stream with Masters of the League. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's our modded Master League on PC. We are, I think, 13 episodes in.
40.
So yes, a number of episodes. So we're going to drop off. Going to get the green screen, which you can see just over my shoulder, just there, leaning on the wall. Going to get all that set up and everything, so we can take you into the arena, bring you into the office. You may even get to experience the luscious kitchen at the Ice Cream Uploads Manor House. Oh yes, we no expense spared. So yeah, feel free to hang around in the channel. I mean, what we usually do is we'll put the end slate up. We'll then go offline. And come back online so that we can get everything set up. So going offline allows us to click this, export this, get it onto YouTube and everything. So the channel will go offline, but we will be back. So feel free to linger in the chat if you want to stick around. That would be very much appreciated. And you can get involved with the rest of our stream across the course of the day. Fresh, live from the ICU arena. But anyway, before we do that though, we have to wrap things up here. So we're going to end stuff. But before we go, Bib, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, there is. If the chatbot is working, by the way. If you have any news stories that are lingering around the social media platform of your choice, then do feel free to get in contact with us. You can do so by @, we've got a bit in you, we've got, that's me again, @Graham_day, and of course, Ice Cream Uploads. We'll take your thoughts and impressions and then give the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m.
Ish. Well, the ish is going to be on my behalf tomorrow because I'm taking my two little beautiful furry animals to the vet.
He means his bollocks, eh? Sorry, I apologise.
Worming stuff and all the other shit that goes along with it, and that's at 9. So hopefully I'll be back for 10 o'clock. But yeah, tomorrow may be a little bit delayed, and that's my fault. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I mean, that gives me a little bit of time to get my breath back after the workout. So for those of you who missed the start of the show this morning, I got up and did an Instagram workout with my missus. She's been doing it the last few days, and you realise how out of shape you are when you have to start to do something that properly pushes you. Today, I genuinely thought I was going to die. So yeah, that's the reason why I was stretching, because every time I lift up my arms, all down there. I mean, it wasn't even a weighted workout, but all... Anyway, acheage, but feck it, you don't need to know that. We're going to wrap things up. Like I say, we are going to go off. We will be back very, very shortly with Masters of the League. So if you want to see some modded PC Master League on PES 2020, then feel free to hang around. If you don't, if you want to go out and enjoy the sun, do that too. But just consider hitting a follow before you go, though, just so that you can get the rest of our content whenever we go live. You don't have to, you can. Anyway, have yourselves a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen. And if we don't see you in a few minutes, we'll see you next time. But until then, stay frosty.